Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Li'idu nishmasi mimirasi ruspas Mordechai. I am right now recording in Eretz Yisrael, but if you're hearing this now and you're not on Zoom live, there are a bunch of people on Zoom right now. I'm most likely on a plane halfway between Eretz Yisrael and Germany. Be'ezras Hashem. So today I'm supposed to be landing in Chicago, and then we'll just continue the regular program, Israel time, unfortunately for you guys on Zoom. Today's shir is being sponsored by Yoel Elkon. Lili Nishmas Yechiel Shregah ben Avraham Halevi. You'll see, by tomorrow there'll be magic. Right over here, they'll appear. With my hand getting in the way, maybe. Lili Nishmas Yechiel Shregah ben Avraham Halevi. The Neshama should have an aliyah. Hope to see you all soon. One email for today. By Yosef Schwimmer, I think it is. I don't know. Something like that. I've been learning the daf for close to a decade now. There's one problem that I find particularly frustrating. Me and my chavrusa allocate a set amount of time each day to learn the daf. Some dapim are easier, some are more difficult. There ends up being some dapim that we cannot complete in one day due to its difficulty, which, as you know, is a big problem when you're trying to keep up with the daf. So Rabbi Yosef, we have another problem. Same kind of thing. Some dapim have 4,000 words and some have 400 words. It's a similar problem. That's the magic. We always end at 8 o'clock. Somehow, it ends up being equal. Amud Beis is always easier. It's always shorter. It's an issue. So what do you recommend? Let's hear. Here's the idea. Each daf can get a rating from 1 to 5, 5 being the most difficult. Along with the rating can be a word giving you the crux of the sugya, say kachim, or tumah, or agata. Listen. I don't like that idea. I'll tell you why. Because that scares the olam. Reb Pesach Waxman already gave me a lot of musar ones. When I said, okay, Rabbi said, here we go, we have a difficult daf coming up. So I think Be'ez Hashem, since that time, he gave me musar. I took his musar, because I like musar. And I try not to do that. As a matter of fact, I'll tell the olam how easy the daf is when it's like one of the most difficult daf in Mishas. So if I had a system, it would be the reverse kind of system. But I hear what you're saying. It's a good taina, and it's an issue because all dapim are not created equal. Some of them are impossible to get through. You have a dapim and brochas, the massive agata dapim. They're very, very difficult to just read. Forget about pshat. So yeah, but that's what Daf Yomi is. Hard, easy, gadata, kachim, and malasot. Such a rating being sent to you each day via email or WhatsApp can be a big help for people with allocating the correct amount of time with their chavrusas beforehand. Please let me know your thoughts. I think I did. P.S. I figure that someone such as yourself with a forward-looking perspective and learning the daf can help bring this to fruition. Sincerely yours, Y.A. Sorry, can't really be a big help, but I hear it's an issue. It's definitely an issue. How many? 30 people. Givaldik. I do want to say Shalom Aleichem to a bunch of people on Zoom since we have the opportunity. I don't have the people next to me screaming at me. So I noticed here we have Nachum Horowitz, first time in a very long time. We have Dr. Dauber from Lincolnwood, good friend of mine. Be'ez Hashem, I'll see you in a day or two, as long as you don't kick me out of his shul. I got 2 vaccinations. I'm this, whatever. If you need me to sit outside, I will. Who do we have? Dr. Listhouse, I see a lot. Nachum Horowitz, I said. Peretz Rappaport. The wrong Kornbluth. I see your face on the screen. Yishkoyach for taking my anacle for a month. Yeah. The anacle. The unwanted anacle. The 4-legged anacle. We're not going to go there. And Ben Schwartz, of course. It's all these chevra that want to show that they need the afternoon. Oh, Reb Shuk is here. Why? Shalom Aleichem. You coming to the Siyum, Be'ez Hashem? Avada. Listen, Rabbi Sai, I'm not kidding. There's, I think, 115 people signed up to the Siyum already, and the place is limited. We really can't do a 300-person Siyum, unfortunately. Not going to give you the exact amount, but we're getting very, very close to capacity. So if you want a chaperine, don't push it off to the last second because we're going to be very makbid. There's only a certain amount of seats in this hall. All right, and we are very makbid on Corona, vaccinations, etc., post-COVID. So here we go. We are doing Daf Kuf Yud Dalid. And we are holding 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Kuf Yud Gimel. Today, we are finishing off the Agadata and going into a beautiful sugya, an unbelievable hashgacha pratis that we're going to be talking about Lel HaSeder, which is less than 2 weeks away. It's unbelievable. It's phenomenal. Mamish, easy stuff, but the things that we're familiar with, the marar, the charoises, the brachas that we make. Zok the Gemara, Tana, Hu Yosef is Hutzal, Hu Yosef Abavli. These are the same people. It's one and the same. Yosef is Hutzal, Yosef Abavli. Who is he ben Gurarya? Who is he ben Yehuda? Who is he ben Gamliel? It's the same person. Who is he ben Mahala? Mahala Leil. Umashmoy. What's his real name? He had all these different names. Some say that he was running away from the authorities. Isi ben Akavi Shmoy. His real name is Isi ben Akavi. Hu Rabbi Yitzchak ben Tavlo, Hu Rabbi Yitzchak ben Chaklo. The same person. Rabbi Yitzchak ben Tavla is Rabbi Yitzchak ben Chapla, who Rabbi Yitzchak ben Ilah, who top of Kuf Yudal Amud Aleph, who Rabbi Yitzchak ben Acha the Shmaita, who Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas the Agadata. Halavai, the whole Amud would be like this, because it's just what I ordered. You know, I didn't pack yet, of course, and etc. So there's Rabbi Yitzchak ben Acha, when he says halachas, he's called Rabbi Yitzchak ben Acha. When he says Agadata, when he talks in Agadata, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas, that's his name, B'simanach. Shimuna achai veriyai. Shimu is like Shmaitza, learning the Gemara part, and when we quote him in Gemara, then we use Acha, achai veriyai, Acha. So again, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Acha, achai veriyai, Acha has to do with Shimu, with Shmaitza. And Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas has to do with Agadata. Now, the trick is to remember this throughout Shas. So you get to Agadata and all of a sudden you see Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas. Let's see if we can remember. Oh yeah, I remember in Pesachim, Daf Kuf Yudalid, we learned that this is the same person as that we leave for Yedidi Kramer. He'll tell you. Every time you say, oh, who's this? Oh, we learned in Sanhedrin, he gave us the whole list of who's who. Okay. Omer Rabbi Chana, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Mishmei Rabbi Yehuda bar Eloi. Echoil Batzal V'shev Batzel. It's a play on words. They're both Beis Tzadik Lamed. Batzal is onion, Tzel is shade. In other words, he's saying, eat out less and invest that money in real estate, according to the Rashbam. Makes a lot of sense. Why are you spending all this money on entertainment when you could invest it in something positive that will give you fruit in the future? Don't sit down and eat duck and good meat, and you'll constantly want to eat. Whenever you go, you want to eat. Eat less, and from drinking, and here it says Mefurish, you don't need a Rashbam. There's other Rishonim before that learned a little differently. Here the Gemara says, add to your real estate, increase the size of your house, and eat less. In other words, you're talking about a person who has a specific amount of money. Why waste it on good food when you could spend it wisely? Kiyasa ula amar matlo muslim b'marava. There's a mashal that they said in Eretz Yisrael. The achel al yasa, a person who eats fatty steaks. Alya is the tail of the sheep, the fatty tail. So nowadays we call it a steak. Tashi bi'ilisa. So he has to hide in the rooftop, in the Aliyah Hagag, in the attic, when they come knocking on his door, pay up, he disappears because he doesn't have money. He spent it all on steaks. The other day, when Avi Kamiansky made me this amazing steak, so we found out on Chai. I told my wife it's great, one of the best steaks I had, and they bought it at Israel. He says, 200 shekel a kilo. That's what it costs. What is that equivalent to? I don't know, like $60. So $30-something a pound. Okay, that's whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I think it's more expensive than usual. But if you eat vegetables, akikli de masa shachiv, then you'll be rolling around on the bottom, where people can find you. You have no problem. Al ashbis ha'ir, where people are just hanging out on the dumps. In other words, nobody's after you for money. You don't owe anybody. You're good because all you do is eat vegetables. Zog the Mishnah, the official Mishnah, sponsored by Official from Official Catering. Mazgulay Kais Rishon. So here we go. We're in Leil HaSeder now. Unreal. Mamish, I'm telling you, it's. I have such an awe from this. When are we going to have this again? You know when we're going to have it again? The Ashgacha process is going to happen again in Sukkot. Right when we start Sukkot, we're going to be finishing Masechta Sukkah, I think, or we're starting, I forgot what it is. We have to do Yuma, and then Sukkah. It has something to do with Sukkot. So anyway, but it's a coincidence. Ashgacha process. Mazgulay Kais Rishon. So they pour the first cup of wine. The Gemara is going to explain what the svar is. You say first, you say and then you say Bayer Pri Hagafen. And this is what we're familiar with. First you say Bayer Pri Hagafen. Then you say Asher Kedusharim Imseisav V'Ratzavanu, etc. Tana Rabbanan. Devarim shebein bishamai ubeisil basuda. There's a bunch of machlokes in between bishamai and beisil when it comes to the meal. And here's one. First you say the kiddush hayom, and then you say Bayer Pri Hagafen. Why? Why do we even pick up a cup? Because you have the special day of Pesach. So talk about the special day of Pesach first. It came first. It came before the wine. First, you make a bracha, and then on the kiddush. You need wine in order to say the kiddush, or you need bread. But either way, if you're going to do it on bread, so you say the bread first. You say it on wine, you say the wine first. I'll give you another reason. The Gemara explains why you need two reasons. Birkas hayayin tedira. Ubirkas hayayim eno tedira. The concept of tader v'shein tader kaidem, something that happens more often. Now, what happens with wine more often? What happens is that you make kiddush on wine. You're doing kiddush. You're using it for birkas hamazon. You're using it at a wedding. Not so much the fact that you're drinking it all day long in the time of the Gemara, but more the mitzvah part of it. Not as common, because if you factor in birkas hamazon and weddings and kiddush hayom, so it comes out that wine, the mitzvah of wine, is before kiddush. There's more times that you do wine than you do kiddush. So that's why we today, first we say Bayer Pri Hagafen, and then we make kiddush. My davar acher. Why do I need another reason? Maybe it's 2 against 1. Beisil also has 2. Tader v'shein tader koidem. V'halacha Beisil. Pshita. Why should the halacha not be like Beisil? It's always like Beisil. The Novik Baskol, when they got together that day, there was Beisil and Beishamai, and Beishamai are sharper, but Beisil were the Roiv. So the Baskol came out and said, halacha is like Beisil, and that's it. We go like Beisil. So why should this be any different? Ibai say Mekoidim Baskol, I had to tell you that the halacha is like Beisil before the heavenly voice came out and said so. Ibai say La'achar Baskol, Verbi Shuahi, Do Omar, Ein Mashgichim Bebaskol. Again, this is one of the sugyas that keeps coming up in Shas over and over. When we talk about Rebbe Eliezer Shemuti, Rebbe Eliezer was in Cherem, the famous story that Rebbe Eliezer with Tanur Shel Achnoi, they had the machlokes about the oven, it's chopped into pieces, and Rebbe Eliezer brought all the proofs in the world that he was right. And he told the trees to bend, and he told the flow of the water to go backwards, and the wall of the Beis Medrash. And at the end of the day, they said, we're not listening to you. So then the Baskol came out and said, Allah is like Rebbe Eliezer. Allah is like Rebbe Eliezer. Baskol from Shemayim. And they said, Ein Mashgichim Bebaskol. Who said it? Rabbi Yeshua. Yeshua says, we don't listen to the Baskol. So since we don't listen to the Baskol, so Memelo, we're not going to listen to the Baskol over here. So what if the Baskol said Allah is like Rabbi Hillel? Memela, I need to tell you that the halacha is like Beis Hillel when it comes to Kiddush. Now, let's look at Taisus for a second. Taisus did Maskil, Domar Ei Mashgichim Bebaskal. The third Taisus there. But at the end of the day, we do Paschal like Beis Hillel everywhere, and it's based on the Baskal, no? Over here, we have a very good reason to say that halacha is like Beis Hillel. It makes a lot of sense. And that's exactly what the Paschal is coming to say. That when you have the majority of Talmid Chacham say one way, and the minority of Talmid Chacham are sharper, let's call them, sharper, mechaded itfei. What's the halacha? Ubaskal yotza, sorry, aval hasam, the Baskal keneged rabbim lekamel anachi. So the Baskal says, let's go with the Rav. It makes sense. But over by Tarush Achnoi, by Rebbe Eliezer, when the Baskal said, let's go with Rebbe Eliezer, who was a single person against the whole base medrash, we don't listen to that. And Taisus explains, the Baskal was just giving honor to Rebbe Eliezer. Okay. Zok the Mishnah, the official Mishnah, sponsored by Fishel from Official Catering. Anybody see Fishel? I haven't seen him in a long time. He's on? Yosef, you see him on at all? All right. Maybe he'll surprise me. Maybe I'll come to the scene. You never know. Hey, Viu, live fun of. You know what? We have a Mishnah. We got to stop. Hold on. Let's see what else we have here.
Mark is talking, but he couldn't hear him.
Mark's talking. What is he saying? I see Mati Grunberg. No, he didn't say that. Official's not gone. Chas v'shalom. Oh, he's on. He's on right now? Let's see.
I think he's on the screen. He was on before, he said.
Oh, he's on before. Something about Toronto. Okay. And I saw OU user. He's on now. I see he's on. What did he say? I can't hear him because I shut my thing off. All right. OU user, Ramoti. Oh, and Dr. Alan Rabinowitz from Toronto? No, Montreal? I don't remember anymore. Which one was it? He's on. Shalom Aleichem, Dr. Alan. Okay. How's Mati's granddaughter doing with the whole tumor? She's home. Chesed Hashem. Wow. All right, so we can have simcha by the Seder. Says the Mishnah. Heviu lefanov. They bring, what do they bring? They bring the table with all the food. They bring the, what?
They didn't get their biopsy back yet.
Really? It takes that long biopsy? Heviu lefanov. They bring the vegetables, says according to Rashbam. Others say they bring the table. Achash shebir chalayayin. So now we're continuing with the Seder. He does Kiddush. We just spoke about Kiddush, the Kais Rishon. What comes afterwards? Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas. We're holding by Karpas. Heviu lefanov mitabel bechazeres. Rabbi Isai, you remember we had the whole controversy, the whole discussion. Again, me and my Hasidic friends, I went after the guys that eat the turnips and the real charoises, because the Mishnah says you should do it with lettuce. What's the number one mar that we're supposed to do? You do it with romaine lettuce. What does the Mishnah here say? Again, go back to that. Mitabel b'chazeres. You bring lettuce. Over there, the Mishnah brought 5 things down, or whatever it was, and number 3 in the list was what the Hasidim eat mar, and we explained because in Europe they didn't have the lettuce, and it became like a minig obviously mididenu. So a lot of people are actually makbid to do both now. They do a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of this, something, whatever. That's how I think we came out. People send in a bunch of emails. They do both. Okay. So says the Mishnah, we dunk the vegetable. We're supposed to have a vegetable, right? What do we do today? I think a lot of people use like a potato, a cucumber, and you dunk it in salt water. So here's the Mishnah. Mitabel b'chazeres. So first you do some sort of dunking in. What do you dunk it in? So according to the Rambam, you dunk it in charoises. But we don't go like the Rambam. Taisus says over here that you dunk it, well, he says if it's lettuce, you should dunk it in charoises. But if it's any other vegetable, you dunk it in salt water or vinegar. In other words, like we say in the Manashtana, how come tonight we dunk twice? And the point of this dunking is so that to make a heker, or that the children should ask questions. What is going on here? Why are you dunking? Why are you, well, dunking, by the way, we explained the other day when it says that the shamish dunks the intestines and he dunks. They used to dunk everything. They would matbil everything. They had a little whatever, and every food they had, they dipped it in something and they ate. So that's why it says matbil. But what exactly are they dunking? So the Mishnah says they're dunking first, initially. So maybe we should let's go backwards. Marar is supposed to happen after matzah. Al matzah is umroirim yechlu. So lechatchila, you're supposed to eat the marar afterwards. And if you're using lettuce for your marar, and you have a chiyuv, the rabbanon, to mix the kids up, to ask them, they should ask questions, it should look interesting, and you only have lettuce. So what do? You're going to eat lettuce in 5 minutes together with the matzah to be yotze marar. Eat it again. Eat it first now. Right now, you're not going to be yotze marar. It's not even marar. All the Hasidim scream. It's not even bitter. It doesn't have to be bitter. It has to be marar from the Gemara, from the Mishnah. It doesn't have to be bitter. And you eat it, you dunk it, and you're not yotze marar. 10 minutes later, when you wash hamoitzi, do matzah, then you eat it, the same thing again, the same chazeres again, yotze marar. So the Gemara is going to discuss, why weren't you yotze marar right away? What happened? So the answer is, so we could chazer it again, because l'chayra maybe mitzvahs tzrichas kavana. You have to have kavana when you eat the marar, and you didn't have kavana for marar, you had kavana that the kids should ask questions. Okay. Hevi the fun of matzah. So now they bring the matzah out. So Taisa says that they took away the little table. You know, they had these little tables with all the stuff on. Everything's prepared beautifully for the seder. Took it away. Now they bring it back again, so that the kids should ask, "What is going on here, Tati? Why did you take away the table? Now all of a sudden you bring the table back. What's going on?" Engage them in the Seder. You see this idea of you have to engage them, make sure that they don't fall asleep, make sure that they ask you questions, so that the point is to talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim. By the way, the first time in my life, because I was on this diet for 3 months, I've been making charoises literally every day, and I'm not sick of it. Charoises and charoises. You want to know my recipe? I'll tell you. 2 apples, a lot of wine, a cup of wine. Huh? No one has. The way I do it, okay. 2 apples, a cup of wine. This seems like a lot. A cup of crushed almonds and a cup of crushed walnuts. A lot of cinnamon, some ginger, mamish murdik. Well, you gotta dice up those apples real good in a blender. That's the recipe. I finally came up with it. Took me a while. We're gonna package it and we're gonna sell it for MDY. I did see they bring down the charoises, the fruits, the klal yisrael. It's supposed to include pomegranates and dates. The Sephardim, in fact, they put their dates in. I tried dates. I don't know. I didn't like it that much. I wasn't used to it. My father didn't make it like that. But the Sephardim, they definitely use dates. I know that. Okay. The cinnamon and the ginger, they all have to do al pi halacha. It's not. These are things in the halacha that has to do with the bricks, the blood. I don't remember exactly. Okay. Ushnei tavshilin, which we're going to see that represent the Korban Pesach and the Chagiga. That's what we have today, like the egg, the roasted egg, and like a wing. Even though there's no mitzvah to make charoises. Mitzvah. It is a mitzvah charoises. When you lived in the time of Mikdash, Beis Hashem, in 2 weeks we'll have the Mikdash. So at the Seder, they're going to bring a piece of the Korban Pesach. And now we shall turn to Daf Kuf Yud Daled Amud Beis. Sponsored by Eli Dijkman, who's not on right now. Hashem Yirachem. Brocha, he only goes on when it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Brocha vehatzlacha. For all the MDY team in their everyday lives, for all the hard avodas hakodesh they do. I have to tell you guys, I don't know if you were on and if you watched today's shir this morning, but I'm going through a tkufa. One day I'll talk about it. I have a situation going on now. Nothing life-threatening. A situation, a monetary thing. Let's just say a monetary thing. So my good chaverim, the MDY team, including Gershon Ben Moshe and Avi Kamiansky and Noam Fix, they took me and my wife out to a tzimmer up north. Beautiful mansion, 4 wings. Each family got a wing, and it was unbelievable. I didn't realize, Avi Kamiansky's kid has a great voice, so does Gershon's kid, and so does Noam's kids. And they sang Zemiris, I'm not exaggerating, for over 5 hours straight. Beautiful, with the harmonies. It was not child. We went all the way, came out to 1 o'clock in the morning. I bought a bunch of wine, and the wine went bye-bye like you can't even believe. The Oilam was having it. It was unbelievable. It's a big Kiddush Hashem. There's one bottle of liqueur that the Oilam likes a lot, so I bought 3. They were laughing at me. 3? Polished. Okay, Zok the Gemara. But it wasn't a litzanos. It was mamish ruchnius. But it was good times. All right. So Yishkoyach, I pointed out because I want to say Yishkoyach to them again. And unfortunately, the Wi-Fi wasn't very good up north, so we had a little bit of an issue. Okay, Zok the Gemara. Amar Shlokish. We have a second sponsor. Thank you. Sponsor for Refuah Shleima for all Chayli Yisrael, especially our MDY family. I don't know if you noticed that the Refuah Shleimas are down completely. Baruch Hashem. We were a month ago. It was like Refuah Shleima after Refuah Shleima on the COVID thing. But Baruch Hashem, I gotta shut off my phone here. Unfortunately, somebody just called up. Okay. Amar Shlokish. We said this sugi already. You see from our Mishnah that a person can eat a whole piece of lettuce and he's not yaitza marar. He's only yaitza marar 10 minutes later, after he finishes the matzah, he says, hello, I want to be yaitza marar. Now he's yaitza marar. He makes a brocha marar, but it's the same exact food. He ate a piece of lettuce before and ate a piece of lettuce now. What did he do different? You know what's different? In his head. So you see from here, says Rish Lakish, you need kavanah. He didn't eat the maror. When he's chayiv to eat the maror, he ate the maror in the beginning of the meal. He ate it with the bracha of Boirei Pri Adama. Maybe he didn't have kavanah. That's why he has to do it again. He has to do it a second time. But because the Gemara is just explaining the same thing that we said. If you hold that mitzvahs don't need any intent, why do you have to repeat and dip it again? You already dipped it in the vinegar, the salt water that you could buy in Rabbi Isai, go to Pomegranate, buy the salt water there. It's only $4 for a small container of water with a little salt. It's kedai. Remember, I had that picture, and then it's only a couple of euros in England. So okay, fine. Now, just want to point out that the Achronim talk about this. There's a lot of answers on this following question. Maybe it's talking about not that you mitzvahs need kavanah, but maybe he didn't want to have kavanah. Maybe this guy, when he was eating the first vegetable, he's saying to himself, I don't want to be yaitza. I don't want to be yaitza. I don't want to be yaitza. And therefore, he's not yaitza. So there's a bunch of tirutzim on it. There's a nice one from the Chazon Ish. But one teretz that I thought it was interesting stam as another yediyah, just to bring another sugya up, is that Rebbe says that Yom Kippur is mechaper for all the averos. So there's machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. What if a person says in shul, he gets up and says, I don't want Yom Kippur to be mechaper me? What happens to him? Does he get a kapara against his will or not? So that's machlokes. So according to the Manda Omer that says that if you say I don't want a kapara, you still do get a kapara. So perhaps, according to that man Amar, if you say, I don't want to be Yaitza Marar, you're Yaitza Marar. You don't have an option. You just became the mitzvah. You can't fight that mitzvah. You can't fight. That's what one of these Achronim said. All right. Says the Gemara, Dilma, we're holding 2, 4, 6, 7 lines from the top. Dilma la'olam mitzvahs ein tzrichas kavan. Who told you? What's the proof? Maybe when it comes to a mitzvah, you don't have to have kavan at all. So you ask me a question. What is going on here? Why do you have to dunk this lettuce twice? It's only so that the children should ask questions. So then, if that's the case, it's only for the children. So then why does it say that he's dunking lettuce and then he's dunking lettuce? Let him dunk lettuce, or let him dunk shar yirakos, let him dunk potatoes, and then he'll eat lettuce. Why does it have to say lettuce twice? Says the Gemara, Yashmin and shar yirakos have amina hechad ika shar yirakos who demin trei tibule, ava chazeres l'chuda loy bay trei tibule. That's exactly what I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you. I would think that if you have potatoes and lettuce, great, so you dunk each one individually. But what if you only have lettuce? That's all you were able to buy, lettuce. Maybe you can't use it twice. That makes a lot of sense. Why should you be able to use the same vegetable twice? Make 2 brachas on the same vegetable, 2 biyotza, 2 different things in the same vegetable. It doesn't make sense. Common from the 5 towns of Zan. It's unbelievable what's going on here. Geschmack. I should do this more often. Unbelievable. Even if you're only eating lettuce, which is identical to the lettuce you're going to be eating in 10 minutes, dunk it, make a bracha. Now we're going to see all the way in the bottom of the Amud, what brachas do you make? We have a machlekes here, 3-way machlekes or so. And why do you do it? Again, it's in order to engage the children, to make it different. And we say it in the Manashtana, Madbilim pamechas, Madbilim shtei pamim. Here it is. Now we know what Madbilim means. Madbilim is just that. That was the minhag in those days. Everything was dunked. In Eretz Yisrael, they dunk a lot also. They dunk it in chumash. Everything. They take the challah and they dunk. Everything's a dunk. What do they call it, Gershon? Linagev. To wipe, but also tibul, no, negev. Okay, niguv, fine. V'oid, I'll prove to you that mitzvahs don't need intent. They don't need kavanah. The Tanya, achol and demai yotza. What if you ate marar, which is demai? Demai, we know, is a combination of da, mai. Again, if you buy fruit from an amaritz, so we're not sure. He claims that he took trumas and maisrus. But we don't know. So Chacham said, you know what, take Trumas and Maisers again. So what if your marar was the Mai? You bought it from Ma'aretz and you forgot to take Trumas and Maisers. Which, by the way, I think I said the story, we got to say it again. I know a guy that lives his brother lives right here, but I know him very well. He didn't have kids for 7 years. 14 years. I'm not going to tell you I don't want to ruin the rest of the story. The rest of the story is a much better story. But I'm going to tell you this part. He didn't have kids for 14 years. So he went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and Reb Chaim Kanievsky told him, you need to take Trumas and Maisers on your fruit, on all your produce. So he thought that Reb Chaim Kanievsky is crazy, because, what do you mean? He goes to the store, regular store, and it says Trumas and Maisers. Turns out that the guy that owns the store is not religious, and he never took Trumas and Maisers for any of the fruit. It was baloney. There's no Trumas and Maisers. So he started taking Trumas and Maisers. I'm telling you, Ma'aseh Shoy, his wife is pregnant. I know them personally. Okay, and I'm not this big, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, but this story is 100% true. Says the Gemara, if you eat marar that you bought from an Amar, it's a yotza. Why? Well, this we learned also 10 times, because every individual has the ability to say to himself, I am poor. Because he literally could be mafker everything he has. He could just give it up. Like these guys do with the pots. When in COVID, when you couldn't dunk your pots in the mikvah, so you gave up the pots. You made them hefker, you put it on a WhatsApp group. My pot is hefker in front of my house for 10 minutes. Whoever wants to come take it. Obviously nobody took it besides me. One time I took the guy's pots. And then I gave it back. But you can make yourself hefker. You can make all your items hefker. Memela, ani is allowed to eat. Demai. Acholim beloy miskaven. Here we go. If you ate marar without thinking, yatza. No, what does it say in the brisa? You don't have to have intent. You don't need kavana. Great. Achol chatzayin yatza. And if you eat the marar, a half a kazayis here and a half a kazayis here, you yatza. Ubavad shlo yisha ben achila lechaverta yoiser michdei achilas pras. So achilas pras, also a concept we had many times in Shas. Here's the picture. Here's a loaf of bread. Let's say a loaf of bread is made out of 8 beitzim. So a half a loaf, a pras, not chatzi pras, this is a mistake. Pras, a half a loaf of bread equals 4 eggs. How long does it take to eat this? It's like 2 sandwiches, we said, like 4 pieces of bread, 4 slices of bread. However long that takes, between 3 and 9 minutes, I think it is, that's the shear of how quickly you have to eat that maror. So if you stall more than 3 minutes on your maror, you might end up with some sort of an issue according to one of the poskim. So try to, I think it's 3 minutes, between 3 and 9 minutes. Again, I'm not a posik, I don't know anything, but chatzi, a pras, a half a loaf of bread, that's how quickly you have to eat this maror. So if you ate a half a kazayis of maror, at minute number 1, then you took a break, and then you ate another half a kazayis at minute number 2.5, and you finished it before 3, you yaitza. That's what it says over here. Between the two, you have to eat it all within achilas pras. So, akoponim, you see from this brisa that you mitzvahs don't need kavana because it says mefurish in the brisa. Guy had amnesia, he had no idea what he was doing. He's eating the marar, he thought he's eating a salad, it looked good, it's like greens, a bunch of lettuce. He had no idea that he's doing marar. He's yaitza the mitzvah marar. So the Gemara Tanai, you're right, okay, so you have a brisa like this, you have this, it's not a kasha on Rish Lakish. Even if you ate lettuce in the beginning of the meal, because he holds mitzvah is tzrichos kavana, and he holds that you have to do the mitzvah again. So you bring more, your wife brings out more lettuce, and you yaitz the mitzvah again. Who told you? Who told you that he holds that it's because you need kavana? Maybe he holds you don't need kavana. So why does his wife bring in more lettuce? That's what we said before. This makes me feel better actually, because the whole time I don't understand. Like, show me one kid in America, even, of course, even in America, that you're going to fool him with these questions. Like, he doesn't know. He learned in cheder. He learned in yeshiva that tonight you do 2, you dunk it 2. So he's not going to stay up for that. That's going to. He knows already, but it's still a hecker. It's still. We are making something different. Tonight is different. Not so much to ask questions as much as tonight is different. To heavy hekera latinoikos. Imkein my mitzvah. So if that's the pshat, if you're telling me that the pshat is because you want to, the reason why you're doing 2 feedings, so to speak, you're eating lettuce twice, is that the kid should ask questions, then what is the word that the brisa uses? Mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. It's an inyan that kids should ask questions. You're not mekayim a mitzvah, so the word mitzvah doesn't fit in, and therefore, you see from the word mitzvah that you're eating the second lettuce to be yaiteh the mitzvah of mar. That's why you're eating the second lettuce, not to make it interesting for the kids. Says the Gemara, "Ma'ishnei tafshilin." What are we doing here? What should you put on your seder plate? Now we know what we do. I think, unless you're going to tell me that you come from here and there and you do something different, but I think most people in Klal Yisrael today use an egg and a wing, or maybe the Svardim, those guys that have like real sheep, maybe they use a shank bone, whatever it is, a piece of meat. On the Seder plate? The head of a sheep on the Seder plate? Oh my gosh. That takes up the whole Seder plate. Says the Gemara, what do you put on the Seder plate? This is a shocker. Omer Avona, silka. You put beets, va'aroiza, and a little rice. Rava have a mahada silka va'aroiza. Why? Hoyel v'nafak mipumi de Ravuna. Ravuna says you don't need to go crazy and get yourself meat to resemble the Korban Pesach and to resemble, it should be a siman to the Korban Chagiga. Which Korban Chagiga? Right? There's 5 Korbanos we bring on Yantiv. 2 of them are Chagiga. One of them is the Chagiga you bring on Erev Yantiv. And why do you bring a Korban Chagiga on Erev Yantiv? To supplement the Korban Pesach. That's not enough because there's so many people that are going to be part of your Korban Pesach. Not everyone is going to have enough meat to eat la soiva when you're full. So you make another korban called the chagiga. So, l'zeicher that chagiga, not the chagiga you bring on the 15th, on Yantiv. The chagiga you bring on the 14th. To commemorate that, you put something, a piece of meat. Says Ravuna, you don't need a piece of meat. I want you to put beets and rice. So says Rava, I love it so much. Rav Huna is so amazing that I need to show everybody that he knows what he's talking about. The halach is like Rav Huna. So he went out and he bought rice and beets and he put it on his Seder plate. Omer Rav Ashi Yishma min od Rav Huna less the chayish lahod Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. So, again, it's unbelievable. Everything comes around. I wish I knew this then. In one of the first Dirshu tests on Shas, not this cycle. Last cycle when I was doing the Dirshu test. So the question was, what Brocha Achrona do you make on rice? So everybody says, Bar Nefashos, or if you want to be really smart and think you know it all, Ala Michya. And then the real answer is Birkas Hamazon. Even Birkas Hamazon. Because according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, rice is just like one of the 5 grains, and you can do everything with rice just like you do with the 5 grains. The sign Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer, Oirez min daganu. So now you have 6 grains. You have the barley, the spelt, the rye, oats, wheat. And now number 6, Oirez. Most people say it's rice. Min daganu. V'chayov ma'achimutzi kares. And when it ferments, you get kares, it's chametz. We call it, the other man, the Amrim say, it's not called fermenting, it's called spoilage. And if I make a matzah out of rice meal, yoytze the matzah. Fine. So Mela, you see from here that if I'm going to put rice on my Seder plate, I obviously don't care about Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. I don't hold Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Chizkiya Omar, afilu dag ubeitze shalov. Comes Chizkiya and he adds, you don't need to have beets and rice. You could even have something that's cooked together, like an egg on top of a fish. It's one machal, it's one food. That consists of it's considered 2 foods. But in Gela Halacha, it's 2 foods. Kalman, what's going on over there in Farakaway? Is it that cold? I see you wearing like a serious hat. Do I need to bring a serious, what's going on? I got to bring my winter coat? It's 80 degrees in Eretz Yisrael. Snowing in Muncie? Oh man, so I got to bring like a whole, okay, thanks. I was going to come out like with my short sleeve, you know those guys that come from Florida to Chicago like in the middle of December? And I'm not kidding, I've seen it many times. You go to the airport, they come with their sandals and their shorts and their tank tops, and they come out, it's like 22 degrees outside in Chicago. They forgot to check the weather. That's me. I came out did that. It's a good thing I saw Kalman. Thanks, Kalman. Chizkiya Omar, afilu dago beitze shalov. Rav Yosef Omar, tzorich shnei mini basar. Oh, so this is what we do. You need 2 types of meat. No, we don't do this. We do 1 type of meat. Echad zeichel Pesach, ve'echad zeichel Chagiga. You need them to be similar, just like the Korban Pesach is meat. So you put meat on the Seder plate. And the other one is also meat, Chagiga. Ravina Omar, afilu garmo bishula, even meat and the soup that it was cooked in. So, what do? We do the roasted egg. Now, I brought this down before, that I forgot who it is. The Mishnah Berurah talks about how you're supposed to, I'll try to be makka this year. I don't think I was ever makka, but usually that shank, whatever it is, doesn't look very hot by the time the Seder is over, and it usually gets tossed into the garbage. But because it comes to resemble the Korban Pesach, I forgot who it is, the vehatzlacha, or somebody says you have to eat it. No, but the problem is that we don't eat it because it's roasted. A lot of us take it and roast it on a fire, right over the gas. And you're not supposed to eat roasted things on Leil Seder because it's only the Korban Pesach that's roasted, nothing else. So Mela, the Indian is to eat it the next day because it's a dvar mitzvah. It's not something you throw into the garbage. The roasted egg, according to the Vilna Gaon, you eat right away in the beginning of the Seder. And I forgot the other shittas. If you know the other shittas, let me know. Zog the Gemara, pshito heichadik shar yirakois, mivarach shar yirakois. Now, so that's us. Here's us. We have the potatoes, the cucumbers. What else do people eat? That's what we eat. I don't know what other people do. So you have other vegetables, so you have to make a bracha by your pri adam on those vegetables in the beginning of the Seder, because, as the Rashbam points out, you never eat anything ever without a bracha. You can't benefit from this world without a bracha. So of course you're going to make a bayir pri adam, and you eat. And then, and then 10 minutes later, or whatever, most people, I'm just saying 10 minutes as the saber size, 45 minutes later, you're eating the matzah, and then you eat the maror. So you make a bracha al achilas maror. But you don't have to make a bayir pri adam because you already made. I got in the middle, okay. Here, you see? By the way, look at this word. If you want to tell me chazeres is not lettuce, look at this word here. And if you only have chasa, I think according to everybody means lettuce. And that's what we're going on. Because once again, lettuce is the number one. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says. The Mishnah says that it's counted. It goes, we already established that. Romaine lettuce. Now somebody said, who told you it's romaine? Okay, fine. Some sort of lettuce. A romaine lettuce, if you only have that, what should you do? So now we have machlokes. Amar Abuna. So on the lettuce, the first time you're eating the lettuce, but you're not eating it for maror, you're eating it just for the children, so you make a bayir pri adama. And afterwards, like we said before, nothing changes. But we're going to see a shita tomorrow of Chizda that it is different. Now, just a very interesting halacha. What happens if you are, you're from the Haim, you're Haimish, and you eat the serious mar, what is it called? The white stuff. The horseradish, the chrein, the heavy duty stuff, or like Avi Mandelbaum in Moreshet showed me that he bought the white horseradish, and he put it in a bucket of water for months already, from Tu B'Shvat, because he wants it to grow a leaf, because he eats the leaf part, and that's even more bitter, and the leaves actually came out. Fine. So if you're like that, let's say you're eating the leaf. It's not edible. It's really not edible. What bracha do you make on it? So the Magen Avraham says, very, very interesting. You don't make a hadama. It's not edible. But you make al-chilas maror. That's the shita of Magen Avraham. There's some that argue with him. But I just thought it was interesting. You're eating food, but it's not food. I forgot who it is. Says the Choy Yaakov something says that if you put that let's say leaf, you dip it, and that's the derech achila. So now you do make a adam on it. But the Magen Avraham says you don't. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Be'ezer Hashem, I'll see most of you guys, the New Yorkers. I'll see you Be'ezer Hashem in New York, and those of you who are from Chicago, I'll see you in Chicago. Even before that, Nachum Horowitz, don't you dare play the shtick on me that you're from Baltimore and it's too far. And I'm just kidding. Chas Hashem, I don't want to be matriach you. So whoever comes. I'll be very happy to see whoever is there. And Shalom Yisrael, a great day, everybody. Shkoyach, shkoyach. Charlie Zolti, what's the mazel tov? Remind me. Charlie, what happened? A baby? Shkoyach dak. I know. Oh, you mean mazel tov that he's on? I got it. It's night. Look who's on. Rabbi Isai, Sonny Alawani is on.
How come so many Americans can be up at midnight, but there aren't so many Israelis on now?
Yeah, what time?
I'm just pointing it out.
And you see where the dedicated people are. That's all.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Also, guys had a Pesach cleaning.
No, he's right. He's right. It's these guys telling their wife, "I got to go learn Torah. I got to I'm sorry, I can't clean. I can't help with the kids."
No excuse for getting that cleaning. Yeah, got me out. Give me a pause.
Yeah.
For the afternoon, we got this more often.
Who? Zalman Tzvi is up? Zalman Tzvi, you got to go to sleep, Zalman Tzvi. Yes, Eli. Avada, Eli, of course, Eli.
What time?
Same time as every day, Be'ezer Hashem, 7:15. Besides on the Siyum night, we're changing the time.
Again, what time is that?
7:15 Israel time.
That's 1:15. That's 1:15 North America. Excellent.
Oy vey. Oy vey.
Does that mean there's a little problem? Ellie, the problem is that I'm in New Jersey. You're going to be in Chicago.
It doesn't matter. You just pretend that I'm in Israel and 7:15 Israel time. It's the same time as you get up in the morning. Eli, every day you watch it, that's the time.
12:15, right?
Yeah.
1:15, my friend. 1:15. Jersey, it's 1:15. And just to be complete, right. That means easy to do it. Right.
When do you come to San Francisco?
Alan, let me tell you something. You better not pull off your shtick. I'm going to ban you for life from the shir if you try to fly certain people into the shir, into the siyum. I got to go home actually and pack.
I just want to know if Eli has Isurim to go.
You'll find out.
Safe flight. Take care. Bye, guys.
What is your room do you need to fly? Tell me. Is it something I don't know?
Rosedale didn't get Isurim.
What is your room? What is your do you need to fly? What do you mean, Yeshua?
You're outdoors. You have to wear a mask.
You don't need a Yeshua to leave. You need a Yeshua to come back in.
Oh, yeah, you coming to Lakewood at all?
I don't know. No, I don't think so because I'm only in New York for one day.
Where's this alley live? In New Jersey somewhere?
Who?
Jackson. Yeah, you. Where do you live? Jackson. Oh, we're neighbors.
Of course.
Ellie, you're muted.
Oh, I'm muted?
I'm muted.
All right, Rabbi, say I'm going to go. I'm going to go pack. All right, thanks everybody. Thank you for the chizuk. Thanks for being on at such an interesting hour. Sei gesund, everybody. Thank you. Mordechai, Shkoich for everything you're doing with the Siyum. Sei gesund.